1977, George Lucas formed a legacy.
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
Inspired by mythology, his saga has become a passion for many.
Feel the Force around you.
His legend has become our story.
It's true. All lives.
One of resistance.
We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down.
Rebellion.
Rebellion is built on hope.
And redemption.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is Star Wars Reactions.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Star Wars Reactions. We are back with another episode, and we are going to have a great night discussing some phenomenal episodes of Tales of the Jedi. So let's not hold back. Let's get everything going here. My name is Aaron Harris. I am one of your hosts here, and joining me, as always, he is the Qui-Gon to my Obi-Wan. He is the David Motters. David, brother, how's it going?
It's going good, buddy. You and I have already recorded an episode describing and discussing the Dooku episodes, and so now we're going to do the Ahsoka episodes. I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready to react, and as always, I'm just thankful to be on recording with you, buddy.
Oh, yeah, same here. It is always so much fun to record with you, especially these phenomenal episodes. As you said, we're going to discuss the second wave of, well, I guess you really can't call it the second wave because it all came out at the same time. But this will be our second episode talking about Tales of the Jedi. This particular one, we are discussing the Ahsoka trilogy of episodes that were released, and my word, they were phenomenal. And we are going to have so much fun talking about them. Right here, we had 3 episodes that talked about Ahsoka. Episode 1 was Life and Death, which was directed by Nathaniel Villanueva and written by Dave Filoni for president. The 5th episode, because remember there were 6 released, 3 about Dooku, 3 about Ahsoka, and they were released in chronological order as to where they fell in the Star Wars canon guideline or timeline. So the first episode, Life and Death. The 5th episode, which was about Ahsoka, was called Practice Makes Perfect, directed by Saul Ruiz and written by Dave Filoni for president. And of course, episode 6, the final one, Resolve, directed by Saul Ruiz and also written by Dave Filoni for president.
I love that.
Well, I was going to say Emperor of the World, but I figured I would just shoot for president first. We can elevate him from there.
Yeah.
Turn us into a galactic republic once he takes power. But these episodes were awesome because we get to three different stories in Ahsoka's history, starting with Ahsoka's birth and meeting her parents, to an episode of training with Anakin, on a training scene from when she was a Padawan, to a episode where she is post Order 66. And so these are 3 episodes which are real strong, real deep, and actually have a lot of emotion built into them. So let's go ahead and jump into these with initial reactions. David, what were your thoughts when you first watched these 3 episodes in particular?
Well, it's like you said, it's a lot of emotion. I found myself more than, like the Dooku arc, and we talk extensively in there about all the deep thought that those 3 episodes created. My response to these was much more emotional. Like, for example, when you initially see Ahsoka after she's born, I was in tears because I'll be honest with you, buddy. I started thinking about her heroics during Order 66. I also visualized her standing on that planet after her and Rex had buried their friends after that Star Destroyer, crash lands. Maul escaped, and Rex and Ahsoka survived with their lives. But I can just see Ahsoka standing there, and Kevin Kiner's music playing, and I'm just in tears seeing all those guys' helmets, on top of poles, above their bodies. And so, so it's like there's so much emotion there. And I think, there's that kind of response, Aaron, because we have so much history with her now. And so when I saw these 3 episodes, there's a lot of emotion there. So I think that's one of the biggest responses I had. Plus, I love getting to see more of her backstory, and I just thought it's just brilliantly done. Like you said, Filoni's just incredible. I can just visualize him writing these episodes. He said he was writing these on plane flights back and forth between LA and San Francisco, and what I'd give to be sitting on the plane next to him. Hey, Dave, can we talk while you're writing these? But no, just outstanding, and they're short, and you're like, they pack a lot into each of these. I loved seeing, some of these characters. We'll talk about it more in the talking points, but I guess for now I'll just say very emotional. A lot more tears for me during these 3 episodes than Dooku's, and just love Ashley Eckstein, back as Ahsoka.
Oh, absolutely. I have to agree with you. And for me, like I said, when we reviewed the Dooku trilogy, these shorts again prove that Star Wars animation is far superior to anything else. I mean, the look at Ahsoka from baby to Padawan to post 66, like I said earlier, was just so intense, emotional. It was heartwarming and heartbreaking all at the same time. I mean, it was just a emotional roller coaster, to say the least. I loved meeting Ahsoka's parents, seeing the glimpse of how they recognized her Force abilities. I loved even more the interaction, more interaction between Anakin, Ahsoka, and Rex, and honestly seeing how indirectly Anakin was responsible for her surviving Order 66, which makes her survival so much more impactful. I mean, we were all happy she survived, but then seeing that Anakin, in a way, had his hands in that survival, whether he met indirectly, was perfect. I mean, it just added to their story so much, and the training scenes add so much depth to her relationship with Anakin, her relationship with Rex, even Jesse. adds to her somewhat wonky relationship with Jesse. So it's very fun to see. I mean, and then to see her take down the first Inquisitor or the first Inquisitor she encounters, man, very incredible, very artistic, very reminiscent of the Maul Kenobi fight in Rebels. Quick, to the point, but impactful. Very artistic. And do I have to say anything about Kevin Kiner's score? Come on, man. Perfection. And have I told you how much I love animated Star Wars?
No doubt. And I would say this, you have said that before, and I'll tell you, the more we get from Star Wars, Lucasfilm, from Disney. I can't make a strong argument against you. The animation stuff is incredible, and I loved the Dooku arc, and people can go back and listen to that and see how the thoughts that we were talking about, getting down to free will and determinism. Is there an absolute right? Is there relativism? Right and wrong, and that all comes up from Dooku's stance and views on things to these episodes. They are, like you said, they're heart-wrenching. They're I love the character of Ahsoka, and I think it's because of what Dave has done in developing the character along with George Lucas, but also Ashley Eckstein is a big part of it. And I think, I would say, just for initial reactions, buddy, the only thing that I would add, I thought about this, is I wanted to see Plo Koon arriving and meeting Ahsoka, right? But I'm sure Dave Filoni, for president, has thought about that and said, no, let me do this, and I can always do that later. And so maybe we'll see something like that if there is a season 2 of Tales of the Jedi. But that was the only other thing. I'd thought about some of that backstory to her, and I love Plo Koon as well. So that's that.
Very well, very well, very well. Let's go ahead and jump into some of these, some of our talking points here. The first episode that that was released, Life and Death, is the one where it looks at early Ahsoka. We see her. It opens up with her birth. We see her go on a hunting trip with her mom and get taken by a beast. And the beast has every intention of having an Ahsoka sandwich, but she connects with it through the Force, and Big Bad Beast becomes Ahsoka's little kitty cat and takes her back home. And that's when they realize she is a Jedi. She is connected. She is one with the Force, and the Force is with her. Yes. And which was a great episode. We got to see a very I want to say more of a primitive Togruta tribe. I don't know if they're all like that. This seems to be like a more traditional Togruta tribe. Mm-hmm. But it was very interesting to see that, and especially knowing Ahsoka's story through Clone Wars, seeing how her life begins and where it goes through Clone Wars. And I love how you wrote this in our notes, how Life and Death is a bookend to Victory and Death, which was the final episode there in season 7 of the Clone Wars. And this really just began a story which really hasn't ended, because we're getting a whole series post Return of the Jedi, Mandalorian era, but it really told a fantastic story. What are your thoughts on this particular episode?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about it as I was watching this. For the first time, you and I watched them back, when they premiered, at the end of October, and I'm like, wait, Life and Death, and I think I had mentioned to you, buddy, that I don't know, it was just, I don't know, September, was it? I had a hankering to watch the Siege of Mandalore arc in season 7 of the Clone Wars, and I did. And again, looking at the titles, I'm like, wait, Life and Death, wait, Victory and Death. Dave Filoni has, it really felt like a bookend. And I would say this, it really got me thinking about Life and Death and Victory. And I think, Dave Filoni's point to face death. I just watched the episodes last night, and you see Ahsoka's mom, Pafti, encouraging her to look at the Kaibok, and it's okay. That we're not going to take more than we need. We're not going to waste food. We respect nature. We value life. And and our listeners, Aaron, have heard me say this before in my psychology corners, is that, American culture is focused on a number of things, but two of the biggest things is our culture is focused on money and our culture is focused on youth. And if you're focused on youth, you're not focused on death. Old people dying, getting sick, getting old. And so, again, our listeners have heard me bring up, Aaron, Elton John's song, The Circle of Life, from, the original animated Lion King. And I've always made the statement that it's a beautiful song. However, Americans, I think the song needs to be changed, to 3/4 of the circle of life. We don't want to talk about the last fourth. We'll talk about the first 3/4, but not the last fourth. So for Dave Filoni to put this in such a beautiful way, animated with the voice actors involved here, and these characters, I love it, and it's teaching, and it's doing it in a really neat, entertaining way. And so, I love getting to see her parents, Gantika, the village elder. I really like her. I like the little town they live in. I don't know that they're loft cats, or kind of look like, I don't know, kind of a variant, like Gantika is feeding them, and I like them running around. And I just really enjoyed it. The beauty out in nature, Ahsoka's mom carrying her. Of course, Janina Gavankar, right? We know her from, other Star Wars stuff as Iden Versio.
Yep.
So what's that, brother?
In Battlefront.
In Battlefront, yeah.
Yep.
We have her doing a voice, and so she was really excited to be a part of this. So all good things to say about it, but I really wanted to, in our talking points, pull out how I really like, Dave Filoni's encouragement of all of us to not just look at life, but also death.
Oh, very well, very good. I like that, because it is something that Ahsoka has to deal with, especially there toward the end of her career with the Jedi. Going through the war, and then of course there at the end with the end of the Siege of Mandalore, everything she's just completely surrounded by death, and it's how she handled it is what caused her to survive. And that goes back to this episode, back to her mother, teaching her at such a young age that, death is, it's just a part of life. I mean, that's right. It's something to be respected, but not feared.
Right.
And I think that played out very well in this episode.
Yes.
And I gotta say, when she came back, just riding that kitty cat back to the village, just like she owned it, just like it was, her little pet. It was hilarious. Oh my gosh, I just grinned ear to ear. I'm like, yep, that's our Tano.
Yes. I agree with you. I love that. It was just awesome to see little Ahsoka up there.
Yep. And she was little, all right.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, the second episode of this arc actually ended up being I would probably say was my favorite. Practice makes perfect. And this one, of course, opens up with Anakin running late to a test that Ahsoka is required to take, showing lightsaber skills. And Anakin comes running in, and Obi-Wan's there, Mace, Yoda, and Ahsoka's already in the middle of the test, where she's basically fending off a bunch of the remote droids that Luke practiced with in A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out that Ahsoka is kind of upset that he's late. We find out after the test, she's upset that he's late. And he's like, it's not a real test anyway. He's like, if you want a real test, I'll give you a test. And she's like, let's do it then, So he takes her to a hangar where she is surrounded by clone troopers who all just start taking pot shots at her. Of course, shots, they're all stun shots. And that's how she practiced fending off multiple attackers. And I like how Anakin put it in the episode. He goes, yes. She's like, Ahsoka was complaining and made the statement that, the droids are not like this. They're not organized. They're like this. They're a lot slower to respond and this, that. And he's like, I know, but if you can fend off Rex's troopers, Rex's men, then you're fine. He goes, you're the best of the best. If you can fend them off, there's nothing anybody with a blaster can do to you.
All right.
And so they kept practicing and practicing. They practiced in the hangar. Next thing you see them practicing on board as one of the cruisers in the hangar bay of the cruiser. And they're practicing some more. And and Rex is like, and you can see the time progression. And I love that in this episode, because when you first see the troopers, they're all in the phase 1 clone armor.
Mm-hmm.
Then when they advance to the cruiser, we have them in the phase 2 armor, which we see through the second half of the Clone Wars. And it just really builds itself up and ends, of course, with them on board the Star Cruiser, where the end of Victory and Death happens, where she's after Order 66, and Rex is like, I hope that training paid off, and they go in. So it's very progressive, very intense, and you see the hand Anakin had in her survival, which to me makes it even so much more special there. So what did you think of this particular one, David?
Well, gosh, as you were talking and describing it, and like you said, the progression, you can even see it in Ahsoka's outfit, right? Her initial one there in the Jedi Temple, the one on the cruiser, like you said. Anakin, I think his hair is a little bit longer, and like you said, the clone trooper stuff. I love all that, and I really, I guess something that I was thinking about as you were talking is I thought to myself, well, many years ago when I was able to play high school basketball, what did we do? Now, we always talk about this. Now, you can go play the Sisters of the Poor and you win and did you get any better? But what my teammates and I did is exactly what Anakin talked about. We would go and play the guys at Elma College. These are Division III basketball players. We would also drive north of our hometown up to Central Michigan University, and you'd go on campus, and we wouldn't play against Central Michigan University players, they're Division I players, but the college students who were there, a lot of them are really good high school players, etc. And we would go and get our butts beat. We lose. But we were constantly striving to get better. Going against better people made us better. And here's Anakin saying, you can go against these training remotes and all that kind of stuff. And even if you go against battle droids or super battle droids, okay, fine. But let's really get you ready. And it's getting your butt handed to you. And she got her butt handed to her. I've had my butt handed to me many times. Yep. But ultimately, it prepares you. Go against people that are better than you. That's the ticket, And so I loved it. And the other thing I would say about this, Aaron, is I found myself, I'm like, wait, I wanted to cut to the scene where, Order 66 happens. she's deflecting all the shots, right? Because she just was doing it in the training with all the guys in Rex. But they went to the shot of her and Rex before they go in and face all those troopers. And I get that. And I'm glad I saw that. But I kind of wanted it to be that part where Ahsoka's deflecting all the bolts straight up, and then she jumps out through the top, and then go to that. But that's just me. That's just me. But overall, I just, like you said, for it to be Anakin, it means so much. And I'm so glad, there's still that, he's still a part of making the rebellion ultimately successful. Even though he turns into Darth Vader, he has this role, not only picking up the Emperor, but doing stuff like preparing Ahsoka.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
He sure does. And it's intense, and you see the progression of how she improves through these practices. I mean, the first times they practice, she gets shot like almost immediately, and when she comes to, so he's like, "How long was I out?" And Anakin's like, "An hour," and she's like, "What? An hour?" And I love Rex, man. I love it. He's like, "Yeah, Jesse popped you a good one." And all of a sudden you hear Jesse call from the background, "Sorry, Commander."
That was fun. That was needed. That was really good humor right there.
Oh, it was. And it was fun to see that. I mean, this particular short, to me, honestly, it felt like the Clone Wars. It was the Clone Wars. We were in the element. We had Ahsoka. We had Anakin. We saw Kenobi. And they're all voiced by their actors. James Arnold Taylor was there. Matt Lanter, Ashley Eckstein was there. D. Bradley Baker was back doing all the clones, of course. I mean, this felt like home. This felt like the Clone Wars. And everything just fit in perfectly as it should.
Yeah, I agree.
And it felt good. I mean, it made you laugh. And then the more she practiced, and as intense as Anakin was getting, you're like, you had that excitement and feel, and it just kept getting more intense, and the training was more intense, and you see her progressing. Then they're on the cruiser, and he's like, "Oh, Rex is like, you lasted 5 minutes that time before we got you." She's like, "I can do better." And she goes at it again. And next thing you know, she's having to do it in real life against Rex's men.
Yeah.
Just to survive. And something that Anakin was doing just to train her to survive the Clone Wars, she's now having to do against the men that helped train her to literally survive.
Right. This episode could be life and death, right? I mean, the first one, life and death. This one, life and death. The next one that's called Resolve. Oh my gosh, going against an Inquisitor, life and death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her whole story is a battle of life and death.
That's right.
And you could tell she's had a hard life. And this was just an incredible episode, in my opinion. I loved it. And I have to throw this out there. The Easter egg sitting in the back watching Ahsoka practice was Caleb Dune and Depa Billaba. And he was quite impressed with her lightsaber skills.
I misspelled it. It's Caleb Doom, like you said, not Doom.
Yeah.
Not you knew it. Caleb Doom and Depa Billaba. Yeah.
And but yes, it was nice to see them Easter egged in the background, watching her test there at the beginning of the episode. That was fun to see.
It is.
Yeah. So
well, also seeing oh gosh, why am I blocking on the Jedi who has the lightsaber inside of his walking cane? Nibasi?
Oh, yeah.
Nib? Is it Nib? Am I messing it up? We see him frozen in the Obi-Wan series in the Inquisitorius's Fortress
Yep.
Inquisitorius, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Is it Nibasi? Or am I messing it up? Dang
I,
it. I think I'm messing it up. I'm kind of mad at myself. I know his name.
Carabas.
Yes, Carabas. But, yeah, he was in a great episode. What, Lightsaber Lost, when Ahsoka loses her lightsaber, and here he's supervising the training. So, yeah. But no, excellent episode. And gosh, I have Filoni. You know what I'm thinking in my mind? Did he think of this story even before, they did, season 7 of the Clone Wars? I wonder, or maybe he thought about it as he was writing and creating season 7 of the Clone Wars. I don't know. It's just so brilliant to tie this back to Anakin helping her get through it. So there you go. Are you looking for who this is? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
No, see, I did this last episode. I was trying to find something.
I'm looking for it.
Should I look at I could look at, well, I don't know if it says a voice. They don't say it.
I'm looking for it now. I had the visual guide here, and I was seeing if it was in there, but I think that episode was made after the visual guide.
Oh, no, I know. Tira Sanoob.
Yep, that's it.
It just came to me.
Yep.
Is that correct? It's Sanoob, right?
Yep.
Sanube. Master Sanube. I got it. There we go.
That is it. Tara Sanube, voiced by Greg Baldwin.
There we go.
I literally had just found it when you said it.
Look at that.
So
that's the Force working right there.
Strong are we with the Force? Yes.
Well, I know people are listening. They're yelling. They're like, come on, David. Come on, Aaron. It's not Nibasik. I know who Nibasik is. It just came to me. She's a Jedi in the High Republic. Is that right?
Yep. That's it.
Yes. Yeah. So, but yeah, Tierra Sanoob.
Wow, you're 1,000 years too early.
I know. Gosh, I know. Well, you and I were talking about the High Republic before we got on.
Yeah, we were.
We covered a lot of stuff before we got on, but I think that might have been it, buddy. I might have been channeling my High Republic Jedi, but Tierra Sanoob, yeah.
Very good. Very good. Well, we aren't done. We got more to discuss, including the final episode of the Ahsoka arc. So bear with us. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back talking more Ahsoka. Welcome back, everybody. Aaron and David here, Star Wars Reactions, talking the Ahsoka trilogy of Tales of the Jedi. And we are moving into the final episode of this arc, which, of course, is Resolve. This, of course, takes place well after Order 66, opens up with probably the most moving scene in this that we've seen. Which, of course, is Ahsoka crashing Padme's funeral.
Yeah.
Very somber, very sad. And then, of course, has an encounter with Bail Organa, who questions why she would even risk coming to the funeral, and gives her a communicator that if she needs anything to let him know, and makes her escape with Rex, who was waiting down at the creek with the ship. And they go off, and then eventually she ends up on a planet where she's just working as basically, I guess, a field hand. Essentially, is what she was doing. She was gathering hay, baling hay, and unfortunately, she saved somebody's life with. Well, I guess that's not unfortunate. She saved a life
Right.
She ends up saving somebody's life using the Force, which kind of lets this brother and sister know that she is not who she says she is.
Yeah.
Which impresses the sister, and it wants to know, be all her buddy, pal, friend now. And then the brother, of course, is like sees a way to getting good or make some money by turning her in. And we end up seeing an inquisitor for the first time. Well, it's not the first time we've seen him, but first time Ahsoka should have seen one in her story. And we have quite an exciting encounter, one-on-one fight, one lightsaber versus Ahsoka. Ahsoka came out on top with some very ingenious moves, just by being herself. And it was a fantastic episode. And then, of course, she uses her communicator to get Bail Organa to come back and relocate the farmers who survived the Inquisitor. And and of course, that's where she decides to get involved. And apparently that's how the story begins for her on her trip through the rebellion. So,
Yeah.
David, what were your thoughts about Resolve?
Well, like you said, I keep thinking about Victory and Death and how you see Ahsoka and Rex survive as that Star Destroyer is coming down, and they get in that ship, that Y-wing, and to see her and Rex again directly after that brings back all the feels. When Bale is saying, "Why did you come back?" and he risks it. Of course, he wants her to be safe. I get it. But when Ashley is playing Ahsoka and says she was my friend, I just teared up. Again, just the heartbreak of Order 66 and the fallout of this thing. And so that just hit me in the gut when Ahsoka says that. I thought about the Ahsoka novel. We've talked about that in the past, and how much does that, did they change a bit in season 7 between Ahsoka and Maul's battle, and even here a little bit. This story does mirror some of that story in Ahsoka, her being a farmhand and working on some different planets and stuff. But I thought it's neat that she's called Ashley, and we know that those are Lucas's original terms for the light side, and then the Bogan is the dark side, right? We heard Kevin Scott, he uses it a bit in his audio drama, Dooku Jedi Lost. He talks about the Bogan collection and things like that. So that was kind of neat to hear that. I really dislike this brother. I think he's just, oh my gosh, he's so easy to be mad at. What a doofus. Just seeing Ahsoka come back and be heroic, it's just so cool to see that. I love seeing her battle this Inquisitor. And, as you were talking, Aaron, I was thinking about like the part you said where he says, "Are you ready to come back?" And she nods her head yes. And I was thinking, gosh, how much farther is it after this where we see her in Rebels? Right, introduced to the Ghost Crew, and Bale's the one that introduces them, right? Yeah.
Well, it's still got to be several years away because this isn't fought long after.
Okay,
Order 66.
Okay,
and Rebels, of course, is 5 years before A New Hope, so there's still many years of organization and trying first.
Okay. Yes. No, thank you for, gosh, I need a visual timeline in front of me just to kind of place everybody. But no, thank you for the assist. But no, just absolutely loved it and love seeing her nod and the episode ends and here she comes into the rebellion like you mentioned a few minutes ago.
Absolutely. And what I liked the best about this episode was the battle between Ahsoka and the Inquisitor. Because you have, we all know how inspired Lucas was and Filoni afterwards about these with these Kurosawa samurai films and how they impacted the storytelling that Lucas did and how Dave did. And we see that in here because, just like with Rebels and the episode Twin Suns, when we have Kenobi going up against Maul and everybody wanted this massive epic lightsaber battle and ended up being 3 swings of the blade and it was over.
Yeah,
we have the same thing in this. We have this Inquisitor come up and he's the only one armed. He's got the double-bladed lightsaber and he comes at Ahsoka, swings and misses. Then Ahsoka literally grabs the lightsaber, deactivates it, yanks it from him, and then reactivates it. And with one slice, kills him. I mean, it is literally over before it started.
Yeah.
And it has that same mirrored. To me, those fights mirror each other so well, showing mastery of the Force by one of the parties, in how it came to be and how it impacted the finish.
Yeah, well said. I would say this to piggyback on what you're saying, buddy. It just really shows how much better trained Ahsoka and a lot of these Jedi are than Inquisitors compared to, say, full-blown Sith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm really curious who that Inquisitor was before Order 66, before the Inquisitorius was set up.
Yeah.
But we may never know.
Yeah.
But it was just, I wrote it in the notes, and I want to say the fight was very simple, yet very complex at the same time. And it just was very beautifully done. And artistically, visually, it was stunning. Fighting, surrounded by the village was burning, everything's on fire behind them and around them, and they just, it was incredible.
Yeah.
It was just incredible. So, any other thing or any other points about these episodes that you want to hit on before we progress any further, David?
No, I feel like we've really hit on it and really, covered the most important points, I hope.
Very good. Well, we'll go ahead and jump into our final reactions here. For me, I gotta say, I love this. I love Tales of the Jedi. There's just no way around it. I love it. Filoni, Lucasfilm, Disney, they really outdid themselves with these shorts. The stories were very classic, and they were priceless. If you're a Clone Wars fan, they're a must watch for you. You have to watch these if you haven't already. And I gotta say, Mr. Filoni for president, if you are listening, can we get a second season of Tales from the Jedi? Maybe about, maybe Kanan or Ezra or both. Pretty please. With a mail around on top. I'd appreciate it. But with that said, I also have to say it was very refreshing for me as a Kenobi fan. It was very refreshing to have James Arnold Taylor returning as Kenobi again. Even if it was for a moment, it warmed my heart because he's just an awesome guy. So we'll leave it at that. David, how about you for your final thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'll say this. I just mirror all of Aaron's points here. I'd love to see a second season of this. I wouldn't be surprised. I can't imagine them not. I can't imagine Athena Portillo and Carrie Beck and the crew Lucasfilm and Disney not wanting a second season. Is how could you not? And Aaron mentions Kanan and Ezra. Absolutely agree. Of course, we saw young Kalen as Caleb Doom. Would love to see more of him at a younger age. Of course, we see him a bit. In the beginning of Bad Batch, we see him, and Aaron and I, of course, covered that when that came out a while ago. But I was just thinking about there was a Kenobi Marvel series this summer, five issues, and I grabbed all 5. And one of them shows Obi-Wan as a youngling, as a Padawan at the Jedi Temple. And Aaron got me thinking as he mentioned, Tales of the Jedi episodes about Kanan and Ezra. Yeah, 3 on Kanan, 3 on Ezra, 3 on Obi-Wan. At a young age, there's a lot of options. Yaddle, I mean, we could see Yaddle. She's Jedi. What about Yoda when he's younger? I mean, there's so many options, and sign me up. I'm there, buddy. If they do them, but again, I want to say something that Aaron said. Just priceless, classic and priceless. The lessons that you learn from all 6 of these episodes. So well done. Hats off to Dave Filoni. Incredible work.
You know what else would be awesome?
Giving a grade.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, we're going to do that. But
Okay.
I was thinking we were talking about a second season of Tales of the Jedi. What about a Tales of the Sith?
Oh, geez.
What was Palpatine doing before he became a galactic senator?
Yes.
Maul's early days.
Oh my gosh.
Ventress's early days.
Oh man. There's a lot there. There's a lot of options, buddy.
There's a ton of options. I mean, there's so much they could do with this Tales of series, and I really hope they exploit it
Yes.
as much as they can, and tell good stories with it. So, because there's a lot they could do. So, yes, but it is time to grade the episodes, and we do grade everything. Just like if you were in school, we grade it with an A, B, C, D, E, or not an E, A, B, C. I was going through the whole alphabet there, David. Carabas. We grade it with an A, B, C, D, or F. And these were fabulous episodes. So, David, hit me with your best grade.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer. The A+ on these, on the Ahsoka ones, and overall, like we said, look, let's say, when something's put out, a book, a movie, a TV, if it's not good, it's not good. But these are excellent. I mean, come on, you've got Filoni who trained under Lucas, and the Clone Wars has gotten better and better as the years have gone on, and this is a no-brainer. A+.
Absolutely, A+. I agree. It's an A+ for me too. It's perfect. The Ahsoka episodes, the Dooku episodes, the series as a whole, just A+, A+++, A+++++++. You put as many plus signs behind it as you want. It is phenomenal. And again, like I said earlier, it just proves the superiority of Star Wars animation. There ended the lesson. I should have done a little bit more of a Connery voice in that one. There ended the lesson. From bonus points if you tell me what movie that was from.
Is that The Last Crusade?
No.
When he's with Harrison Ford? Okay, sorry.
Nope. The Untouchables with Kevin Costner.
Nice. Look at you, movie buff.
I love that movie. That was such a good movie.
Yeah.
They pull a knife, you pull a gun. They send one of you to the hospital, you send one of theirs to the morgue. I tell you, Connery was just incredible in that.
Yeah.
Anywho, wow, Carabas, sidetrack.
Squirrel.
Squirrel. Actually, be more like Lothcat.
Yeah.
All right. So let us know what you think of Tales of the Jedi. We would love to hear from you. You can, of course, always hit us up on any of our social media. We are on Twitter at SW Reactions Pod. We are on Instagram and on Pinterest at SW Reactions. And if you have not seen yet, we are back on Facebook. I decided to give it one last shot, see if we could actually keep this page. We're 0 for 2 so far, and we still don't know why. But 0 for 2. We'll see if we keep this third one. If not, we're done. But it's now on Facebook at SW Reactions Pod as well. So find us there, like us, share it, get as many people following us as possible. We would love to make an impact there. So check us out there. And of course, you can always email us, swreactions@gmail.com as well. David, my friend, Psychology Corner.
Yes, indeed. I've been, trying to really go in a linear fashion. Aaron knows this, and listeners know that I've been really trying to try to be helpful at a time in our country where depression and anxiety are higher than ever. So, if people want to go back, listen to a few of the previous podcasts, they'll hear me talk about statistics related to depression and anxiety and how much they've gone up over the years. I introduced 10 cognitive distortions, also called stinking thinking or irrational thoughts. And in the last Psychology Corner, I went over 2 cognitive distortions. I went over all or nothing thinking, and I also went over overgeneralization, and I went over ways to address each of those. In this edition of the Psychology Corner, I'll cover 2 more distortions. One is called mental filter, and the other one is called disqualifying the positive. Now, let's first look at mental filter. Mental filter, this occurs when we focus exclusively on certain, usually negative and upsetting aspects of something or someone while ignoring the rest of the picture. A real life example is focusing on the one negative thing that happened to you instead of all the positive things that happened to you that day. Right? Just focus on a certain aspect of that day. To beat this distortion, one of the things we like to do and encourage people to do is look for the silver lining in different situations, also in people. Maybe a lot of the situation is bad, but is there anything good about it? In people, I throw myself under the bus all the time. I do things wrong. I'm imperfect. I say the wrong things. I do the wrong things. But are there some good aspects about me? I hope so, and that's a way to get past this filter of just looking at the negative. A classic way to address this issue is by keeping a tally of positive and negatives for situations and people. That's a classic, right? Let's make a list. What are the positive aspects of the situation? What are the negative aspects? Same thing about a person. Okay. Pretty straightforward way to beat that distortion. Now, the next cognitive distortion is called disqualifying the positive. This can easily be seen in ourselves and others when we continually shoot down positive experiences for arbitrary reasons. Okay. Now, unfortunately, this allows us to maintain a negative belief that is contradicted by our everyday experiences. In essence, the good things don't count because the rest of our lives are miserable. Right? A real life example would be saying, well, that doesn't count because my life sucks. Right? If you have a positive experience, well, that doesn't count. Well, sure it does. You have negative experiences, those seem to count. Well, let's let the positive experiences count as well. So to beat this distortion, you have to ask, so what does count then? And in what way? Right? Again, start asking questions, start challenging these thoughts. That is a key aspect of dealing with cognitive distortions. Another way to beat this distortions is just to simply accept accomplishments with a simple thank you. Something I've seen, Aaron, over the years is a real struggle by people to accept praise for accomplishing something. And it really is true, just to say thank you versus trying to, explain it away. Yeah, I did that nice thing, or that I had that accomplishment, but it was really somebody else, or, it wasn't really something I did. And, I just kind of fell into it, whatever. No, accept it and say thank you for the praise. The other thing, kind of consistent with the previous cognitive distortion, and a way to address it, is just take the time to make lists of personal strengths and accomplishments that you have as a person. Okay? So, just like I did in the last podcast, went over 2 cognitive distortions. I always like to kind of give a heads up as to what I'll cover in the next Psychology Corner. And the 2 cognitive distortions that I'll be covering next, and ways to beat them, is jumping to conclusions, and also the cognitive distortion that is called magnification and minimization. Okay, so we'll cover those and continue to help people become good psychologists, buddy. So there you go.
Very, very good. Very good. I actually made a positive and negative list a couple days ago when I decided to redo the Facebook page.
Okay.
See, I knew this before it started.
Nice. You're a good psychologist.
I try.
Yeah.
I try. So perfect. So, of course, if people have any questions for you, David, about the Psychology Corner, or of course about Star Wars or anything in general, how would they go about reaching out to you about that?
Yeah, the best way is at Twitter. My Twitter address is at David_Modders, Modders. There is an S at the end. And the other spot is Instagram. So just look up my name, David Modders, and I'll be right there.
Very good. Very good. And of course, if you want to talk Star Wars with yours truly, the best way to do that is on Twitter at TAHarris121079. And hit me up there. We will talk about whatever you like. So, well, David, you know what time it is?
I do know what time it is, and I apologize to our listeners in advance.
That's right, folks. It is Star Wars Dad Joke of the Week time. As you know, every week I like to end the show with a dad joke. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're groaners. That's what makes them dad jokes, y'all. And these are all about Star Wars. So let's go into this. You ready, David?
I'm ready, buddy.
All right. When did the Jedi Masters first think that Anakin was being influenced by the dark side?
Ooh, I don't know. When did the Jedi Masters first think that Anakin was being influenced by the dark side?
When he was in the 6th grade.
Oh my God. That is bad. What a groaner. When he was in the 6th grade.
Yeah. Then of course the natural question is when is the 6th grade? It's after the 4th grade.
After the 4th grade. Oh my gosh. Oh. I know I continue to apologize to our listeners. That's actually kind of funny, dude. That's it's a kind of a groaner. Like, some are true groaners, you know. That's really good. Yeah.
Somebody I can't remember who it was that messaged me the other day. Let me look back. Somebody messaged me the other day. They were listening to the Dooku show, and it was Daniel Contreras messaged me. He was listening to. He was actually in our neck of the woods. He was over at Disney Springs, and he sent a screenshot. He was listening to our Tales of the Jedi Dooku episode. and he messaged me with telling me he was listening to it with thumbs up, and then all of a sudden I got Dookumentaries, ha 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 ha, with a laughing face.
That was, oh my gosh.
That was all the encouragement I needed to keep going.
So everyone can thank Daniel Contreras.
More groaners to come.
Oh my! I was really hoping to meet him here just recently. We were talking about a meetup.
That was. I know that was supposed to be last week, but then when Nicole came through and I got pulled in, I told him I was going. I actually was going to go, but then Hurricane Nicole came through, and I just got pulled into work, doing storm stuff and. Benefits of working. If you don't know, my day job is in insurance. So when a hurricane comes through, my job is uber busy. And it has been that way ever since Ian came through. So it just got crazier. So
yeah, well, and I wanted to get down there. It's always fun to go to Jock Lindsay's bar there at Disney Springs, and you and I've been there before with Dan Z. Coffee with Kenobi and stuff, and
it's just a cool atmosphere.
It is, and I always love hanging out with you there, and wanted to meet Daniel, and just want to say hi to him, and definitely want to do that. And it's always fun to meet up with people. And but I agree. I'm the same as you. I put possibly going. I very much wanted to be there. It wasn't one of those things where. I didn't want to go or something. I very much wanted to go. It's just like you said, as Nicole came through, not Hurricane Ian, but Hurricane Nicole and Tropical Storm, it just backed everything up for us here. And it just probably wouldn't have worked out, but it would have been really fun. And maybe we can do that again. And I'm glad Daniel's having fun with our Star Wars dad jokes of the week.
Me too. And I hope the rest of y'all are too. So, David, my friend, this has been a blast.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate each and every one of y'all listening. Y'all are the best. Y'all are awesome. Y'all are the greatest. Never forget that. Be nice. Take care of yourselves. Be nice to others. Take care of others as well. It's one small world, and we're all just journeying through it. So we need to take care of each other the best we can and show a little kindness. We love y'all. We're praying for you. Remember, this is your place for elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
If you'd like to share your thoughts, you can email us at show@starwarsreactions.com for our show notes and the latest news from the Star Wars universe. Visit our website at www.starwarsreactions.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at SWReactionsPod or on Facebook at Star Wars Reactions. If you enjoy our show, please leave a review on iTunes. This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or by Lucasfilm Limited. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars. All names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and the respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Star Wars Reactions unless otherwise indicated. Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.